I want to tell you a story about Mike, an everyday guy from Chicago. Mike had it all, or so it seemed. A stable job, a nice apartment, a decent car. He worked hard, pushing himself to climb the corporate ladder. He followed all the rules that society said would make him happy. But deep down, Mike felt something was off. He was exhausted, constantly stressed, and no matter what he achieved, he never felt good enough. Sound familiar? One day, Mike had a breakdown. He couldn't take the pressure anymore. It was like the more he tried to be successful, the less fulfilled he felt. Then, something changed. It all started when he came across this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Heck. A title that grabbed his attention, but what really got him were the lessons inside. Lessons that would flip everything he thought he knew about life, success, and happiness on its head. Mike used to believe that life should be about constant happiness. He thought that if he avoided pain and discomfort, he could keep stress at bay. But the first lesson that hit him hard was this: suffering is inevitable. No matter what we do, there will always be challenges, pain, and setbacks. Mark Manson makes it clear, life isn't about avoiding problems, it's about choosing the right ones to focus on. Mike realized he was stressing out about things that didn't even matter, chasing promotions, approval from others, and things he couldn't control. What if, instead, he focused on solving the problems that actually mattered to him? Once Mike accepted that suffering is part of life, he stopped running from it. Instead, he asked himself, what am I willing to struggle for? And that's when things began to change. The second lesson hit Mike even harder. It was about values. Mike realized that for years, he'd been chasing the wrong values: status, money, and the approval of others. He was living according to what he thought he should care about, not what really mattered to him. Mark Manson argues that these are shallow values, ones that leave us empty, no matter how much we achieve. Mike realized that his happiness was built on shaky ground, and the more he cared about external things, the worse he felt inside. So, Mike asked himself, what are my values? What really matters? He shifted his focus to things he could control, being honest with himself, building deeper relationships, and focusing on his own growth. Suddenly, life felt lighter, because now he was living by values that aligned with who he really was. The third lesson was the hardest: accepting limitations. Mike had always been obsessed with being perfect. He thought that if he just worked harder, he could become flawless. But that's the trap. The more we try to be perfect, the more we reinforce that we're not good enough. Mark Manson calls this the backwards law. The more you chase something, the more it eludes you. Mike learned that instead of striving to be something he wasn't, he could find peace in accepting himself. Not in a give-up kind of way, but in a way that freed him from constant insecurity. Then came the turning point: responsibility. Mike learned from Manson that while he couldn't control everything, he could control his response to whatever happened. That was the game changer. Once he stopped blaming others and circumstances, Mike took full ownership of his life. Responsibility doesn't mean everything's your fault, but it does mean that you have the power to decide how to react. When Mike embraced that, he stopped waiting for life to go his way. He started making his own path, one decision at a time. Finally, Mike faced the ultimate reality: death. Manson talks about how accepting our mortality is the key to living a meaningful life. It sounds morbid, but Mike found clarity in this idea. Knowing that life is short helped him stop giving a fuck about the little things that used to stress him out. Instead of worrying about his next promotion or how many likes his posts got, Mike started asking himself, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? What really matters at the end of the day? And that's when everything clicked. Life isn't about more, it's about less. Less noise, less distraction, and more focus on what gives your life meaning. Mike's story is one we can all relate to. We get caught up in caring about things that don't matter, stressing ourselves out over the wrong problems. But, as Mark Manson says, the key to a good life is giving a fuck about fewer things. Only the ones that truly matter. So ask yourself, what's worth your time, energy, and care? And what can you let go of? The secret to a happier life isn't more, it's less. And that's a lesson we all need to learn. If you learn new through this video and enjoy it, like, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more personal development tips and book breakdowns like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.